guys, welcome back to another episode of Watercolor ABCs. Today is the letter F, and we're going to look at some of my favorite watercolor supplies. So I've kind of broken these down into three categories. The supplies that were my favorite when I was just beginning, basic. The supplies when I got a little more experience, felt a little more comfortable, and then the supplies that I'm using now. So first, when I was complete beginner, this was the paint I was using. And I know Crayola gets a lot of flack, but when you're just starting, these paints, they have just the basic colors. These were really good when I was learning how to mix colors. And so when I get to my color mixing video, when I get to M, I'm going to use these to show you. Then the brushes I was using was this pack that I got from Amazon. They are the brand, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of glaring, Transon. And I got this pack of 8 brushes for about $14. And I liked these because a lot of times when you buy like basic watercolor brushes that are really cheap, the bristles start to fall out, and then those will get mixed in with your paints, and then it'll show up on your paper. And so these were good. They're cheap, but they're not so cheap that they are going to fall apart either. Now these, I believe, are natural hair brushes. So if you're not into that, you're like, no, not doing any animal hair. I was also fond of the Master's Touch, which is the Hobby Lobby brand, and these are synthetic and also quite cheap. And then the paper with some good old Canson XL. This is a very large pad of it, but this paper you can get tons of stores. They sell it at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, but actually the cheapest place I found it is Walmart. They sell this at Walmart, and it's about $6 for a pad of 30 sheets that are 9 by 12. So that's actually a pretty good deal. All right, so those were my beginners, like very bare bones, basic stuff. When I got a little more experience, I kind of, leveled up a little bit, and I fell in love with these Jane Davenport palettes. I had all three. Let's see, this one was the neutrals, this one was the glitzy, and this one was the brights. And it was just a little palette. And it came with a swatch card. You can see how vibrant these colors are. Well, this is also the bright palette. And these were nice little travel ones. So if I was moving around the house, there's the neutrals. And then the glitzy, so like more nautical colors. Now, what I did is, because I found myself using all three of these all the time, and I had a hard time because I had three little palettes on my desk. So what I did is I took the paints out. I bought this box from Amazon. I believe it's F Club. And I just took those three palettes and made a new one. So I put all the paints in there and just made a new swatch card for myself. I reorganized all my colors. So I went, the yellows, oranges, reds, purples, blues, into greens, and my neutrals. And I used the crap out of this. I loved this and this setup. So after a little more practice, I was able to spend a little bit more money for some better supplies, because a lot of these, like the Crayola, they're good when you're starting out, but I don't believe they are light fast at all, which means your colors are going to fade with time. Oh, brushes everywhere. Okay. Now, these are still considered, like, this was educational watercolor, which is like basically the lowest quality. These, I believe, are student grade, so it's a step up. And then, so the paper I started using, now these come in only sheets, and it's the B watercolor paper. It is 100% cotton, so you do get a lot of really good, nice bleeds and blends. The water, it stays a little wetter on your paper longer, doesn't dry as quickly, so you're able to manipulate it some more. And then at this time also, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, and one of my favorite YouTubers was using the Princeton snap brushes, and these are really good. I like them a lot. I still find myself using this one quite a bit, and which one's my other favorite? I like this really big one, the 12. That's the largest one I have, I believe. Yeah, I got this in a pack from Amazon, and these are really good brushes. I like them a lot. And okay, clean this up. So those were some of my favorite supplies. Like, as I got more experience trying out new things, I wanted to get new colors. Then as I really got along, I started buying tube paints, which I then put into palettes. Let me get my collection of tubes here. I got a lot of tubes here. This is like a drawer that I just pulled out. This is actually like a random, I think of this as Payne's Blue Gray. So these are some of my favorite tubes that I use. They're Daniel Smith, and I have some other ones in here. Some American Journey, which is from, I believe, is it Cheap Joe's? I don't remember. Yeah, Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. This is their brand. And Cheap Joe's is a store out of North Carolina, which is where my parents are, and so I frequent there often. Some more Daniel Smith, and they come in, like, you can have them in small tubes, large tubes. This is Winsor & Newton, Professional. I think I have some Winsor & Newton Cotman in here as well. It's like, I basically, like, anytime I went to a store, I would pick up a couple tubes if they were having a sale. Like, I got some of these Professional ones at Hobby Lobby because they were put on clearance. And so they were like $2 or $3 a tube. So I snatched up a bunch of them. I think because they were probably repackaging their look. And then, so it's like basically like if I went to Michael's and I had 40% off coupon, I'm like, oh, let me just grab a tube of paint. Let me grab this Potter's Pink. So it took a while to build up this collection. And then these were my Magello Mission, and they came in a pack of 36. And then they grouped them in boxes, so I just left them in the boxes. So like there's like a box of greens, blues, purples, reds, orange, yellows, that kind of stuff. So what I ended up doing was putting them into palettes. And so I had two favorites for that. These are my Mission Gold, which these are super affordable. You get, I think I bought 36 colors for maybe $70, which is actually really good if you compare them to individual tubes, which can be anywhere from $8 to $20, depending on what size. So, and it came with this palette as well. And so I had two large mixing areas. I really like these. They're highly pigmented. And you can see like these are dry, but they still have that sheen to them. So I like them a lot. I was using these quite frequently before I fell in love with Daniel Smith paints, which is kind of my go-to now. Ooh, just move the camera. So this is my Daniel Smith palette that I, basically all those tubes squirted in, and then I have my mixing areas. This is usually what you see me using, although I've kind of been using my Mission Gold quite a bit as well. That's what I used to make this little sign, was my Mission Gold paints, because they are just so vibrant. My favorite paper for that is Arches. This is another 100% cotton paper, but it is a better quality than the bee paper. And so I chopped mine up and then I took it to Staples and they bound it for me. And so, but you can also buy them in sheets. They come in blocks, all sorts of things. So a sheet is just like a pad that has like maybe 12 sheets on it. I don't have any pads on me. I just have this. Blocks is where they're glued down on all the sides. And then you can actually buy them in rolls. They're really popular. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate. I'm going to do a little quick video where I use all three sets of supplies to do the same painting, just to kind of show you the difference of how they look. Wait, forgot to show you my favorite brushes. Okay, So my absolute favorite brushes right now are my Silver Black Velvet. These again are natural hair brushes, but they hold a lot of water at once, so I don't have to keep dipping my brush in. They have a super fine point. I know it's kind of hard. This one looks fluffy because he's dry, but if I were to get him wet, you can see that really, really fine tip on it. It's nice for doing detail work. Again, if you're not into natural hair, I would recommend Princeton brushes. I have Princeton Aqua Elite. I know Princeton Heritage is really, really good as well. I just don't happen to have any of those. I did actually just order a couple other Princeton ones. I think they're called the Lauren brushes. We're still waiting on those to come in. So those are my favorite brushes. All right, so here you go. I've got my 3 paintings done with my 3 favorite levels of supplies. This was the basic, painted with Crayola on Canson paper with Transon brushes. Then I have this one, which were my Jane Davenport paints on B paper with Princeton snap brushes. And then here I've got my Daniel Smith paints on my Arches paper that I painted with my Silver Black Velvet. So you can see there's a lot, especially with the bleeding in the blending here. This paper didn't really bleed too much, or when I tapped in that yellow. This one did a soft bleed, but this was also the Jane Davenport in those collections. I don't know if I can see. I used 2 of her like shimmering ones. This one was called Alchemy, and then this orange was called Kiss Kiss. So I just gave it a little something something in there. So that's probably why that didn't blend as much. No, this one blended a lot. And that's one of the qualities of Arches paper. It's known for its blending and bleeding. You know, can kind of see those leaves up there. Oh, my dog's jumping on my door. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.